is for chapter 9. This chapter talking about motivation, but I don't know. I don't understand why, but all the previous chapter, the text was using a lot of practice perspective. But starting from this chapter, it's talking about theory a lot. Right? This chapter introduced multiple theory, right? Based on what kind of theory, what motivation means. I probably won't spend any time on those theories. Not that interesting. You can read those theory by yourself. Additionally, I add a lot of example video, some video from the movie to explain what those theories looks like, why people say based on different kind of theory, you can understand motivation in different way. I will spend today's 5 minutes on the topic is what is the theory, why we need theory, right? Uh, the definition of a theory is the theory is simple explanation or interpretation of set of phenomena. In other words, when we observe a lot of phenomena, we need someone can organize them and show the connection among those phenomena and eventually become a theory. Everybody can utilize the theory to explain or interpret the future things, right? I'm a professor in management. I'm teaching you guys management course, but in addition, I'm also a research in management area. Okay, I work on a lot of theory. I create my own theory for academia. So I want to give you some example how to make a theory as a overall topic. If you guys interesting later on, for example, for a master degree or PhD degree, you basically is gonna create your own theory on a certain topic later. Okay, here's some example. I would say you're gonna watch by yourself about what kind of motivation theory you can learn from this chapter. Okay, a theory, how to make a theory, right? First of all, you want to read the literature. Okay, many people working on, for example, for my research about social network, many of people working on some theory or paper on the social network. The first step is always read those important papers to understand the big picture of social network. Then I come up a theoretical framework. Based on my understanding, I want to make a little bit an improvement on certain theory, or I want to connect two different theory, or how about I point out a new theory? No one talks about the theories. It's really hard, but it's still possible, right? So if you have a theoretical framework, you want to give some hypothesis to test, right? Those hypotheses is a different perspective of one theory. If you test those hypotheses, you may get some conclusion to support the theory. Right? That's normally always the first step. You build up a theoretical framework. The next step is could you test if those theories really work based on all the observation you have? In other words, you have some phenomena, you 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 collect those data, right? Working on some based on some statistical methodology or machine learning methodology, or now they even used AI technology to test all this data can support your theoretical framework, right? Then you get a conclusion, say, okay, my theory it sounds like it worked, right? However, one paper really cannot support or create a new theory. After many years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you may see, okay, we eventually think about this is the right theory. Currently, in the old company, everybody uses the social network theory, which is you go outside, talk with some strangers, build up a relationship with them. Those relationships eventually will may have yourself individually work for the company at the organizational level to improve performance. Okay, this things you guys doing every day in the company actually it's come from a social network series, right? So if you're interested about how to create a theory or later on want to apply a master program or a PhD program, let me know. I can work with you closely. Okay. However, for this chapter, please read your textbook do the quiz.